today I'm going to make hash brown casserole my way. My way is never the same way twice, so what you see today, I probably won't make it the same way next time, but it's to give you an idea of things you could do. I'm going to link above the video that Mr. Patient and I did to make hash brown casserole, the traditional recipe hash brown casserole, 2 ways, in the oven and in the crock pot. But this is a totally different recipe or method. So what I'm going to do, I'm using the same potatoes that I used in the other recipe. I pick out anything that might look brown or bad. And like I mentioned in the other one, this already has peppers and onions in it because this was on sale this week, and apparently everybody wanted the ones without peppers and onions, so they were all gone. So that's okay. We've got peppers and onions in our potatoes. So these are cubed, not shredded. I think shredded works better because it works, cooks better, cooks faster, but anyway, cubed is good too. Might take a little bit longer to cook. Okay, my way, I do not use the cream of soups that are very good. You know, the recipe's very good, but I don't use that. So I use some different things. First of all, I want to tell you that this is not the size I usually get. This is the local store brand. It's 1 pound, 12 ounces. And the size that I usually get is a little over 2 pounds. And I usually get that at a different store. So I would typically use the whole 16 ounces of sour cream. In this case, I'm not going to use the whole thing. I'm going to do kind of shy of the whole thing. So I'm going to leave about 3 ounces, I guess, something like that. So I'm not going to use all of that. I am going to use, instead of the butter that it calls for in the traditional recipes, I'm going to use mayonnaise. I do this pretty much every time, and there's a reason. The reason is I want to get it done fast. So you can use mayonnaise as your substitute oil. You can melt a stick of butter and put it in here. That's fine. I just do this usually to get her done. And it works. So another thing is I'll do a dash of cream. This is raw cream. And I'll do a dash of that, or if I had plenty of cream, I'd do the whole thing. I'll save this milk. I've got the raw milk. I'll use that if I think it's too dry. I'm gonna do about a teaspoon of salt, and I can tell you that's close to a teaspoon because I've tested it before and I know it is. My palm. You can add onion powder or garlic powder, or you can chop up onions. But again, I'm just trying to get her done. This is usually this is how I do this. I don't usually chop up the onions and all this for this recipe. Besides, it's got the peppers and onions in it, and that's great. So I do have some garlic powder. Now this is garlic powder, not garlic salt. I don't buy garlic salt because I mix my garlic powder with my salt if I wanted to. So that's about a teaspoon of garlic powder. I do get my spices in bulk from my Amish friends in Ohio when I go up there. Now I have white pepper. You can use black. White won't show specks up. That's a scant teaspoon. And see, if you've never seen white pepper, it just comes from the white peppercorns. There are different colors and intensities of peppercorns. There's pink and green and black and white. So this is white pepper. And then I did measure out for you so I could tell you, this is 2 cups of cheese. So it's a half of the bag that I bought. There. Now I'm gonna mix it up. I'll know if something's got enough of everything, if it's cooked, if it's a soup, I stir it and I can know. In this case, I'm gonna stir this and I can know if it's got everything it needs. I just have learned to know by stirring. If somebody's in my kitchen helping me and they say, hey, do you think this is cooked, or done, or whatever, I'll have to say, well, let me feel it. Because I know. Okay, I can tell that this needs 2 things. Number 1, just a dash of milk. Now remember, I'm using all these things to substitute the cream of soups. If you wanted to go to the trouble of making a roux or your own a white sauce, that's great. If you want to do that, I do that with other recipes, but this particular recipe, I try to make it easy on myself. Another thing I think it needs is cheese, more cheese. My family's not going to complain about more cheese. So I had this 4-cup bag of cheese, and I estimated that I put about 2 cups a while ago, and I'm going to add another cup now. That leaves me about a cup left in the bag. Something else I've done in the past, couldn't decide if I was going to do it today or not. This is Italian seasoning. You can make it yourself from dried herbs. I like to buy that particular one in bulk from the Amish food store because I love it. And I was trying to decide whether to use that today. I think I won't. We are going to have 3 hash brown casseroles for supper. If you'll watch the other video, Mr. Patient and I made the recipe. Like I mentioned, we made that 2 ways, so the kids can taste that, and we can get an idea of which one is the preferred one. But then this is my method without the cream of soups. So I'm not going to add the Italian seasoning. Okay, so I've got this pan that's not very beautiful, but it'll do. And I've got my butter. If you've watched the recent videos, you'll know I'm out of spray coconut oil. So I've reverted back to my days of cooking in the 70s when we didn't have cooked spray oil anyway, or spray stuff. Hey, it might have been invented, but my mama didn't buy it. So, all right, let me wipe my hands. Okie dokie. I think I mentioned to you that usually my bag of potatoes is more than this. So my dish is usually fuller. This is a popular, I'd be interested to know if some of y'all have never heard this, or some of y'all in another country maybe if not familiar with hash brown casserole. We're in the southern United States, and it's kind of popular down here. All right, that seems to be a thin layer to me, but like I said, that's the reason is because my bag of potatoes is smaller than normal. Or I'll use 2 bags of potatoes. So that's what it looks like. You have the option of adding more cheese now or more cheese at the end, on top. So that's it. That's my version. That's how I cook. You saw how long it took. Had all this out, put it in here. As long as you have something to make it creamy and then cheesy, and then your seasonings, and add your potatoes. There you go. That's my version of hash brown casserole. Let's put it in the oven for 350 for about 45 minutes. Or you can put it in at 375 for 30 minutes or so. You might need to play around with that depending on your oven temperatures. I know my previous oven ran 25 degrees hotter than it should have. So that's another tip. Test your oven temperature so you know what you're working with. All right, we'll see what it turns out to look like.